Hello and welcome to my channel where we may be dazed, but we are not confused. Today we're going to do a Find Your Oasis reading for the sign of Virgo. The purpose of this reading is to offer some insight into a barren, desert-like situation that you may be experiencing in life. We all go through these at some point, and it can feel as if you are very much lost or alone, or it's very difficult to be able to see and have some clarity. And so what we're going to look at is why it is that you're in a space of this type, what it feels like for you, what are some of the lessons that you may be able to learn in this space, what is the guidance that can begin to lead you to a place of healing and integration in the form of an oasis, which is a place that brings water to quench a thirst that you may have emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually, and what that feels like for you when you make it there. Okay, so Virgo, looking at your cards, it really appears to me as if the reason you feel like you're in a desert space is because you are coming out of a time where you were very much engaged in a lot of toxic activity. It could have been a social group. It could have been a work environment, something where people gathered and were in communion, like they were socializing or in some type of communication that usually has to do with celebrating or enjoying social life. But it was very toxic, and you removed yourself from that. But I feel like you may have developed some level of codependency or attachment to that. And as a result of that, you're finding that you may have a lack of confidence where you are because you don't have the support of these people around you that you were very much used to having around. And this is not to say that you are not a strong person or that you're not able to exist outside of a group. But sometimes when we are in toxic dynamics where the group can be a little negative, we can develop a personality or character that is in alignment with that. And when that's removed from us, even though it's toxic, even though it's no longer having the negative aspects on you, you could be left with like an emptiness that can leave you feeling discouraged, feeling like you don't have enough confidence, feeling like a lone wolf in a not positive way, in a way that leaves you vulnerable and exposed, and like you don't have the support of the clique or the group to protect you. All right. It's almost like gang activity when people would talk about that, and that used to be a much bigger thing. It was like having the support of this group that was going to have your back and protect you, even though it was potentially toxic and maybe not the best thing for you. What this feels like for you is ironically like you've been kind of let out of a self-imposed prison. I say a self-imposed prison because I have the Eight of Swords in reverse. And in the upright, this is being trapped in your own thoughts and kind of blinding yourself and binding yourself because of a connection to emotions that you have into some sort of situation. And with the Five of Cups in reverse and those cups being kind of tilted out, I feel like it was all this toxic emotion that kind of had you wrapped up in the situation. And now that you've been kind of freed from that, it's like you feel like you have this huge world, this huge place that you can kind of move into. You can go in any direction you want. You've got this new horizon, but it feels overwhelming for you. I feel like you feel overwhelmed by all the different directions that you could take, while also feeling vulnerable and exposed, as if you are a traveler on a road with no protection. So something that's popping up for me with this is like the image of people who are freshly released from prison after doing extended sentences. Many times they will express a sense of feeling worse when they were free than when they were in prison. And they'll usually say it's because they had a routine, they knew what to expect, it was very confined, and you didn't have a lot of freedoms and you didn't have a lot of things, but they had become so accustomed to being squeezed into this tight space that may not have been serving them, but that they were able to adapt to and get some level of comfort from the exposure to the outside world. And that when that happens, they just are feeling very lost. And in those cases, sometimes you end up with repeat offenders, many of whom will say that the reason that they're doing that or committing another crime that they know is going to get them sent back to, a place where most people will say they would never want to be at, or if they had to be there, they would try to get out as quickly as possible, is because there was a sense of safety and insulation in that environment and protection from the exposure of having too many options, too many choices. All right. So what is it that you can learn in this situation? So the mystical shaman oracle card that I pulled for you is the Sweat Lodge. All right. And the number is 54. So let's take a look at what the message is for this card. And I will be reading it directly from the book in order to preserve the integrity of the message. So the essence of this card is that the Sweat Lodge represents the womb of Mother Earth. Volcanic stones are heated in a fire outside, then brought into the lodge and placed in a shallow hole in the center. Participants sit in complete darkness around the red-hot stones to sweat away old habits and beliefs and heal disease. When you return humbly to the womb of the mother, you are offered second chances. This is a time to journey inward into the dark and hidden places of your soul to reconnect with the ancient earth wisdom. You can also create a sacred and intimate space in the dark by lighting a candle. Observe what emerges and, without judging it, invite it to bring you its gifts. You are being offered an opportunity to shed and heal from the aspects of your life you have outgrown. Do not worry that you will be consumed by the process. The medicine for this card is that life is offering you a second chance. Take it, since this chance may not come your way again for a while. Mother Earth is calling you into her womb and inviting you to incubate as long as needed for a spiritual rebirth. Gift yourself time to be with your darkness, your fears, your pain, and your seeds of beautiful potential until you come out the other side free, wise, and full of creativity. So the feather guidance that I have for you to help guide you along your way to finding this oasis in the desert is the magpie. And it says to reevaluate your priorities. It is time to let go of what you no longer need. So let's take a look and get a little bit more information about the magpie. Magpie is a messenger associated in folklore with great luck and fortune. These highly intelligent birds are also extremely social. The magpie takes much time carefully building its nest with great attention to detail. Magpie is legendary for its attraction to shiny things, which it collects in hordes. Thus, the bird is associated with the tendency for materialism or valuing things for their appearance. The magpie feather is a reminder that the world we live in tends to be obsessed with materialism too. The black and white of magpie shows us how important it is to find balance in the duality of our earthly and spiritual paths. Magpie is reminding you that any obsession with material things or achievements will not nurture your spiritual path. The latest and greatest home, car, or gadget will not help you get any closer to true contentment. Now is a good time to reevaluate where you are and notice if you have become distracted by the accumulation of physical things. This messenger also brings the promise of good luck by way of magical opportunity. Finding a balance between the inner and outer worlds is the message of Magpie. So the energies are materialism, balance, and good fortune. And the element is air with the colors black and white. The affirmation is, I seek only what is needed to stay balanced and true to my path. And so when you reach your oasis, you will feel confident. So let's look at the affirmation for your card. Okay. I am not afraid to be who I am destined to be. I will live this day as if it were my last, boldly and confidently in my glow. All right, so just as an overview, it appears that after a period of time being in maybe some toxic friendships or social groups, which I'm picking up may have been maybe materialistic in nature and maybe not of the highest vibration, you are feeling as if you're kind of lost and not confident because you don't have the protection of that group or that clique that you were a part of for the period of time that you were. And it makes you feel as if there's just a big world that you now kind of have to go at alone. And you're not able to make it into the smaller, easily managed bit that may not have been the most accurate portrayal of the wider totality, but it worked for you. And I'm picking up that what you're learning here is that you need to go within to figure out the things that you need to let go of and allow your own inner wisdom to replace the voices and the influence that you may have had before, that you got accustomed to having, which may have blocked out your own natural ability to listen and honor yourself. Listen to and honor yourself. And so you are deciding that you're going to reevaluate what your priorities are, find out what and who you are and what's going to serve you and not serve you. And by doing so, it puts you on the path and in a space where you're able to feel more confident in who you are, what it is that you value, the direction that you're moving into, the types of energies and people that you will entertain. And with all of that, it will begin to change the types of experiences that you will have directly as a result of that. Right? So that is what I have for you, Virgo. Thank you for joining me on this channel where we may be dazed, but we are not confused. If this is your last video, then maybe I will see you on another video in the future. If not, I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.